Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice radio, so today I am showing you an awesome new deck with all the Tapus. The Tapus are the fancy new Pokemon from Pokemon Sun and Moon, and today we're going to look at a deck we can play with all the Tapus. Although I say all the Tapus, we're not using Tapu Fini. Couple reasons for this. First amongst them, it's not coming out till Burning Shadows, and secondly, it doesn't really fit what the others do. But let's ignore that, that's the boring bit, and let's start off with Tapu Koko GX. Now, we like Tapu Koko GX. It's got the ability, which is really, really good, which allows you to move the energy onto Tapu Koko and then stick him into the active. So if you've got lightning energy all around your field, you just put it all onto Tapu Koko and move him into the active. Now it is only lightning energy you can move, but that's still pretty good. Free energy 130 is your, at least for Sun and Moon, classic attack, 1-hit KO if they're weak, 2-hit KO if they're not, and the GX attack for the same energy cost, 50 times the number of energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. This may well be the GX attack you end up using in this deck, because don't forget, although we're playing a number of GXs, it's 1 GX of any description per game. Now we're also using Tapu Bulu here. Now Tapu Bulu was not in Guardians Rising, but is being released shortly in a tin, along with Tapu Koko as it happens, so don't worry too much, he'll be out before you know it. Now, for 1 grass energy, he does a standard 30 damage. For a grass colourless, you've got the classic 120, i.e. 1-hit KO if they're weak, 2-hit KO if they're not, but you do have the opportunity to discard all energy attached to Tapu Bulu and do 180 instead, 210 with a choice band. And this is almost like a GX attack in its own right. You're not going to be able to use this every turn because of the having to discard the energy requirement. However, on turns you do use it, you're probably getting a 1-hit KO on a GX or an EX Pokemon, because 210 is enough to KO Mega EXs like Mega Gardevoir, and heck, you could even play a Kukui to put it up to 230, and then we are rolling. For his actual GX attack, grass colourless, 150, heal his HP. Now, the healing is great, but a lot of the time I'd rather just use Nature's Madness to do 180, and then play a Max Potion the following turn, if I'm completely honest. And Max Potion actually does combo really nicely with Tapu Bulu, because any lightning energy on him is likely to be removed when you play a Tapu Koko with his ability, meaning that you're not always going to have a lot of energy on Tapu Bulu, and Max Potion's going to work quite nicely. And then we've got Tapu Lele. Now we all know we're playing Tapu Lele at the moment for the amazing ability Wonder Tag, which allows you to search out any supporter you like. So you can grab that Delinquent if they've got a hand of 3 cards or fewer. You can grab that Team Flare Grunt if it's the perfect time to discard their energy attached to them, or you can just go ahead, grab something like a Sycamore to get yourself set up early game. Most decks are going to be playing a couple of Tapu Lele. But you've also got the ability here, Energy Drive. 20 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. So this can add up quite quickly and quite nicely. It also gives you a good option for a single energy attack, because as much as I like Tapu Koko and Tapu Bulu, you do need a couple energy on before you get going. Now, we're unlikely to be playing Psychic Energy to use the GX attack. There's no reason why you couldn't, it's just something we're not likely to do, because we're already playing Grass and Lightning, and we may or may not be playing double colourless. And here's the option here. I think Max Elixir in this deck is really good. You play something like 6 Lightning, 6 Grass, or maybe 7 Lightning, 5 Grass, and then you play Max Elixir, and with 12 energy you expect to hit 3 of the 4 Max Elixir you're playing, and then the energy cost really doesn't look so bad. If you play 4 double colourless, then you're probably only playing 8 basic energy, and you're probably only expecting to hit 2 of your Max Elixir, and it all becomes a little bit more awkward. But then you have the option of playing Tapu Lele for a single energy attack. I'm not telling you what to do here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm presenting you with the options for this Tapu-focused deck. Now, there isn't much synergy per se in terms of the attacks of Tapu Koko and Tapu Bulu, but there's certainly synergy in terms of the cards you'll want to be using with them. I've already mentioned Max Elixir. They're both basic Pokemon. They both rely on basic energy, albeit two different. So Max Elixir works nicely here. They're both basic Pokemon, so fighting Fury Belt comes in nicely here because you add 40 extra HP while doing 10 extra damage, and Tapu Lele as well as a basic here, so all three of these Pokemon can use Max Elixir and fighting Fury Belt. Don't forget, of course, that Tapu Lele attacks for colourless energy, so Max Elixir plus Lele could lead to this attack as well. Both Tapu Koko and Tapu Bulu can take advantage of Ether Paradise Conservation Area, so that they take 30 less damage from attacks. Tapu Lele can't, unfortunately. And all three of these Pokemon have no weakness. So let's just look at this now all together. Tapu Koko and Tapu Bulu, with a Fighting Fury Belt attached and an Ether Paradise Conservation Area out, have massive HP. Tapu Bulu's got 220 and Tapu Koko's got 210. And they have no weakness. And they're taking 30 less damage from attacks. So Tapu Bulu has effectively got 250, and Tapu Koko has essentially got 240, and they've got no weakness. Yes, your opponent can play Field Blower to get rid of your Fighting Fury Belts. Yes, your opponent can bump the Stadium to then do the extra damage, but are they really going to have an extra Stadium and a Field Blower out in the same turn? And even if they do, are they going to be able to hit 180 without hitting weakness? I'm not so sure. And that's the synergy I'm talking about in this deck. You've got basics that use the same Stadium, the same tools, the same support card with Max Elixir, have no weakness, and then you're just sitting there tanking, and it's very difficult to KO them. Not to mention the fact that you're hitting for both grass and lightning weakness, which is always fun. And because we're just playing basic Pokemon here, we might have a few extra spaces in our deck, so if you're really worried about the energy requirements here, just play 4 Max Elixir, a bunch of basic energy, and maybe even play 4 Puzzle of Time as well. Now we have some other non-GX attackers which I think will fit in here, and they mostly fit the theme. We have a non-GX Tapu Koko. Now again, this wasn't in Guardians Rising, but it's coming out in the pin collection very shortly, so it's all good. And there's one attack here I like especially. 2 colourless energy, 20 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon. Now this of course is another reason to play double colourless, and the theory here is simple. Rather than trying to make sure we have Tapu Koko and Tapu Bulu GX from turn 1, we just use a non-GX Tapu Koko for a few turns, spreading 20 damage around until we are ready to attack with the GXs. He's got no retreat cost, so as soon as you're ready you just retreat him for free. And free retreat attackers is always something good to have in your deck. And he uses the same combination of Max Elixir, an Ether Paradise Conservation Area, and Fighting Fury Belt that the other Pokemon use. He can do 100 for free energy, but really you'd rather have that on your GX. There is a non-GX Tapu Bulu, but this one's not coming out until Burning Shadows, so maybe it's not something you're too keen about. He's alright. 30 damage for 2 energy, plus you heal 30. 60 damage if you've used your GX attack, 120 for a grass double colourless. But again here, I think the GXs are better. Maybe you can go ahead and use this to take some prizes with non-GXs, and you're still taking advantage of those same cards, your Max Elixir, your Ether Paradise Conservation Area, your Fighting Fury Belt. But the lower HP and the weakness to fire, especially with Volcanion running around, worries me. And the last Pokemon I want to talk about for use in this deck is Mew. And the reason, very simply, is Garbodor. Because Garbodor might be a problem for this deck. You've got no weakness, you've got a high HP, etc. But Garbodor, if you start using item cards, and I've been talking about item cards a lot this video, then Garbodor starts becoming a little bit scary. We need something to take him down, and that's where Mew from Fates Collide comes in. He has got no retreat, which is nice, another free retreater. But he's a psychic type, he's hitting Garbodor for weakness, and his ability means you can use the attacks of any of your basic Pokemon in play. So the deal is very simple. You need to find a basic Pokemon that's doing 60 damage, or a little bit more, but 60 damage will do fine. You then copy that 60 damage using Mew, and you get a one-hit KO. And here you can use any Pokemon that's using Colorless Energy, or Lightning Energy, or Grass Energy, because they're of course the ones you're playing given the Tapu Bulu and Tapu Koko focus of the deck. Now I'm not going to sit and run through every possible option with you here, I'm just going to give you one example, and that's Tauros GX. He hits 60 for a double Colorless Energy, which of course is another reason to play double Colorless Energy in this deck, and then you can just be getting a KO every turn on Garbodor with Mew. Now the problem with using Mew to copy a GX attack here is of course you then have a GX attacker on the bench, and if you use too many items your opponent will just Lysander and KO with Garbodor. But it's worth a look. If anyone can think of any better ideas, stick them down in the comments, but remember more cards will be released in the future. So if we ever get a good basic grass or lightning attacker, it could be combined with Mew to be kind of a nice Garbodor counter. Now you know the deal, ladies and gentlemen, there is a comment section. Tell me what you think about this deck. Tell me if you think there are any other cards that I haven't mentioned that could go very nicely in it. Make sure that you have liked this video and subscribed to this channel. Tell me if there's any other decks you think I should be profiling in the near future. As always, make sure you follow me on Twitter @TheWassy, and the most important thing as always, look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.